Welcome back. In our last video, we completed a speedrun of Hostile Waters Antaeus Rising, a classic hybrid FPS RTS released over 20 years ago. Thanks to the awesome feedback from the Hostile Waters Discord and comments in the last video, we've been able to reduce the total segmented speedrun time down from a bit over 2 hours to 1 hour, 55 minutes and 22 seconds, saving 283 seconds. In this video, we're going to go through the improvements on the missions. Note, I'm not going to go over all of them, as some I've improved by a few seconds with effectively identical routes. I'll just share the interesting ones. Another note, since I haven't yet been able to configure an auto splitter for Hostile Waters, I am still manually starting and stopping the timer, just like the last video, hence why everything is being rounded up to the nearest second. Let's get started with Mission 5. Mission 5 was the mission where we captured the Salamander hovercraft, destroyed the cargo plane, and had to bring a scarab to the wreckage. We followed the same build order as last time. 4 hornets.
Unit complete. God, this is strange. Vehicle ready and on deck. I never knew this would feel so good.
Then 2 Pegasus and a recycler scarab with no AI.
Unit complete.
Back in action.
Vehicle ready.
I'm listening. Sir, yes, sir. Roger that.
The first change is we're going to use a slightly different route to get to the hovercraft to reduce damage a little bit for the Pegasus which we are flying.
Pickup successful.
The second change is we're going to give the command to attack the cargo plane via quick commands and actually give the command a little bit later compared to the last run. This has 2 effects. The first is our Pegasus is now closer to getting out of attack range from the northern base when the cutscene finishes, and the second is the 4 Hornets are more likely grouped around the spawning AA guns rather than all to the north of them, which means they have better odds of actually beating the AA guns. Again, reminder, during this cutscene we are blind flying the Pegasus towards the cruiser. After the cutscene finishes playing, we continue flying the Pegasus and are spamming the M key. It's not doing much for most of the time because it's just constantly selecting the hovercraft that we are carrying. But it turns out, though it's actually pretty obvious in hindsight, the 2 alien egg layers are classified as mission critical assets, so they can be selected with the M key. So I'll just fly hammering M, and eventually M will select an egg layer. So then we issue a squad quick command to attack, i.e. 1XZ, to attack the objective, and we do that twice for the 2 layers. This means we can actually finish the egg layer destroy before we even reach the carrier.
We should be able to use its analysis beam to gather preliminary readings. The object
And in total, that saves an additional 8 seconds off our record in the previous video.
with enough power to carry more efficient.
Next, let's jump to Mission 9. Mission 9 was the stealth mission, find the missiles, destroy the 3 missile arrays, lots and lots of energy that had to be sampled. Once again, our build order is basically the same.
Vehicle ready and on deck. Vehicle ready. Awaiting orders. Vehicle ready and on deck.
But the first change we can see near the very start, we want to drop the Puma on the northeast beach as close as possible to the cruiser. That is, we want it to be in the air as short as possible. Ideally, it actually takes damage because it's been put in the water for a little bit. We then repeat the same process. We pick up the other scarab, fly to the original waypoint location, and pick up the explosive tanker. However, as you've just seen, the trip is so short, we actually have no time to switch the scarab we just dropped to recycle anything, unlike the last video. So we're actually a couple of seconds ahead on triggering the final 100-second countdown timer. We then repeat basically the same process. We drive to the nearest array, tell the Pegasus to fly directly to the array.
In the air.
Will do.
We then keep driving.
That looks like some sort of guidance array.
I'm down. Scavenging in progress.
Eventually we enter the area to remove the lose on detection trigger. We then build a Pegasus to scout the 3rd array. This is all the same as last time.
Readings.
However, since we've triggered the 100-second countdown timer earlier compared to the previous run, we actually have a shot of reaching 6,000 energy before the missiles have launched, meaning the mission completes just as that cutscene starts, not just after. And that's exactly what we could see just happen. So all up, that saves 9 seconds compared to the record from the last video.
Well done, Captain. With all three...
Oh, Mission 10, the atoll. I found the will inside of me to continue to try and improve the time of this mission. This is the pathfinding pain. There's heaps of AA on the map. Forces us down using hovercraft only. Oh, not fun. Last run, we thought we got lucky with pathfinding. And lucky for keeping the center salamanders alive. But we can do better, with better execution, better planning, and a few more attempts for good RNG. The big thing we didn't take advantage of in the previous mission was the initial fog of war removal. Specifically, we can see everything on the map at the start, or at least everything we have to kill on the map. So in this revised run, let's take advantage of that. We're going to change our build order slightly, but still build the same units. We're going to build 3 hovercraft first, squad them, and then tell them to attack all northern production buildings while we have vision, and the command building in the center. We then set the Magpie rally, and we then actually fire a volley at the southeast air factory. The advantage now is we don't actually have to drive over there anymore. We then build the empty Scarab last time so we can send Magpie into the trigger zone, and then build 3 more hovercraft. Importantly, these hovercraft are not squadded, and we just send them directly to the ramp at the bottom of the main base, and don't give any extra commands using the war room screen.
I have them. Reinforcements urgently requested. Be careful of this bio-ACAC. Be careful of this bio-ACAC. Returning to base. This is air unit production. We are under attack. Repeat, we are under attack. This is Ransom. I'm picking up movement. The Apache's not right.
In this run, Magpie actually gets sniped just prior to the trigger zone, so we actually need to trigger it with hovercraft that we are driving. Look, it only really causes a second or two of time loss. I mean, theoretically, you didn't actually have to build the Scarab for Pegasus then, but if someone wants to chase an extra second, go for it. To save time, we're going to try and minimize war room screens. So we're going to drive the first hovercraft up the base ramp ourselves, and then just let it free to attack any units there. We're then going to repeat that for the next 2 hovercraft, but actually get them to target a specific production building each. And it's actually quite interesting to consider now, there actually aren't that many units in the center to help destroy our hovercraft compared to the northern base. So what I thought was extremely lucky was actually not that lucky. Like, for example, in this, all 3 center site hovercraft will also continue to survive. Once the EMP weapon is unlocked, we build our own hovercraft again and manually drive it over, same as last time. Now very soon, when we're EMPing all these submarines, we're going to use B to target enemy buildings, and based on our angle and being close to the subs, we can actually pick up the southeast tank factory just at the edge of a scanner range, which we then use backtick XZ to command an Antaeus gun volley onto. Now if you're exceptionally eagle-eyed, you may have just seen that a sub somehow dodged the EMP shot. You'll see I check just before the end of the mission and get it just in time. I don't know how it missed, but apparently it missed. We're almost there with the mission. The north base is destroyed, the southeast base is destroyed. We're just going to destroy the final building in the center of the map. We're going to manually control some hovers to get them up and around the pathfinding to try and get them attack. And just a reminder, since the very start of the mission, we actually haven't used the F1 war room screen at all. Minimizing its use gives us the longest time for our units to damage buildings. With the final building destroyed, we are finished in 3 minutes and 48 seconds, saving 33 seconds from the previous video. Mission 12. Alright, I'm going to blast through this one. We can save a couple of seconds here. This is the one with the 5-minute timer, the coal generator, hovercraft with the cloak, etc. I mean, saving a few seconds on a mission that's 5 minutes and 40 seconds long with a 5-minute timer is actually a pretty reasonable improvement. First, we build 2 hornets, and then we build our salamander with a cloak.
Point me to the bad guys.
Vehicle ready.
We manually fly 1 hornet to the communications center to trigger the 5-minute timer. Now they're at the communications center, we tell the second hornet to fly to the first one, and then it's time to drive the salamander into the base. Yet again, the mammoth tank could be a real pain, so we're going to snipe it using Antaeus' guns. and destroy all the required units, buildings in the area. Once all the units and buildings are destroyed, we're going to park Salamander in the end trigger zone, switch to the Hornet, and fly north. Now that we've found the first coal generator, we'll tell one Hornet to hold position here, and we'll fly the other one to the second coal generator. Something new here, near the northwest coal generator, there is a second mammoth tank. In the previous run, we brought 2 Hornets. This time we brought only 1. We're a little bit ahead of time. The 5-minute timer won't trigger for a little bit more time. We have a spare Antaeus gun volley. We may as well destroy it. And then it's just a waiting period until that 5-minute timer ends, and the 2 20-second coal generator sampling triggers start simultaneously, and then finish. Those change saves 2 seconds from the previous video. But note, as 5 minutes of this mission is actually fixed, that's actually a reasonable improvement. Here we go again, mission 14. Definitely my favourite mission to speedrun. Damn, it's really hard. It's very hard to do quickly, because there are so many things to manage all at the same time, and yeah. I've come up with a slightly modified plan from last time, which reduces some of the intense management required, but it's still extremely intense. And we only managed to save a few seconds compared to last video, but this is hopefully easier to run compared to the previous video. So if people want to try and improve my record or try it themselves, I'm keen to share this, because I think it's a little bit more accessible. The rough plan before we get into it is essentially the same as last time. We're going to destroy the base closest to us, destroy the big base to the east, and then while the big base is being destroyed, destroy all the nests. First we build Pegasus, and then a recycler Scarab, but now 2 hovercraft with shields. We send Pegasus the same as last time on a special path that triggers the 2-minute timer to unlock the flamethrower weapon and detects the nest to the very, very, very north of the cruiser.
Borden on bay 3.
Croker on deck. I have radar contact, awaiting visual. Reinforcements required. I am up.
Watch this radar net.
We manually drive the 2 hovercraft to go up the left side of the base.
Borden going in. Under pressure. Target down.
Croker on the line.
And then we build a Hornet to help with the destruction during the cutscene.
Complete.
Your reminder, our units are invulnerable during the cutscene.
Ransom here. Roger that. Sinclair here. Structure under attack.
Unit destroyed.
Captain, we're getting a lot of movement all around here. The area's forming.
Now something a bit cute, during the cutscene we're actually driving the Scarab, and we're listening for an audio cue when the current target is deselected. That means the Scarab has just finished recycling something. That's actually enough energy for us to build the second Scarab, so then we build it straight away during the cutscene, and then switch the first Scarab back to AI control. We really want to get the second Scarab as soon as possible, because we need a lot of energy very quickly for this mission. Once the cutscene ends, we continue to focus exclusively on energy. Remember that it's faster if we recycle ourselves rather than AI, while our units are destroying the base. Destroying this base isn't actually required to win the level, but if we don't kill all the units, then our Scarabs will die. That's not great for the speedrun. So we kind of have to leave our units around here for a little while to clear the base. Once the base is clear, we build a 3rd hovercraft with shield and AI control, and send all 3 of them to the big eastern base. At the same time, we're going to send Ransom's Hornet to the far northeast corner. We're doing this much, much earlier than last time, which saves a little bit of time of us having to recycle and then rebuild this Hornet.
This is Ransom. I'm picking up movement.
Once the Hornet reaches the top right of the map, we switch to it and use Antaeus' guns to destroy the 2 northeast nests. We're actually destroying them first in this route. Last time we destroyed them last. We instruct all the hovercraft to go outside the base wall and hold position using the W key. This prevents them from driving off, wasting time, chasing other units, and then drown one of our Scarabs to free up an AI chip, as now the Flamer is available. We can actually build all 3 of the Flamer Sentinels at the same time, so we build 3 of them with the Flamer and an armor. We accept the Magpie lift for all 3, but in reality only one of them is going to get a lift, and we build a second Pegasus at the same time. So the first gets picked up by Magpie and moved to the north, the second gets picked up by Korolev's Pegasus, dropped at the closest nest, and then we tell Korolev to pick up the objective crate. The third gets picked up by the second Pegasus, in this case Sinclair's, and this one is dropped further away, and then it's used to scout the southeast nest. We then drive each hovercraft up and over the wall, giving 2 of them buildings to target, because of course the quicker we destroy production, the fewer units we have to deal with. Now for another change from last time, it's time to drown another scarab and free up an AI chip. We've got spare energy, let's get as many units into the fight as possible.
Hostile neutralized. Vehicle ready and on deck.
That's on base 3. Okay, sir. I'm listening. Roger that. I've started demolition.
Under pressure. I'm helpless here. Orders confirmed. This is Gordon. Commencing attack.
SM1, go the same way as the air units.
Target down.
Once again, once the Sentinel hits the ground, we juggle back and forth destroying the nests.
Moving fast. This is ground unit production. Beyond attack. Broker here, taking heat. Here they come. Antaeus, this is Benton. Oh, it's 50%. Still locked down here. Hostile unit destroyed. They have me on radar. Oh, breach imminent. Hybrid bomber detected.
Unit destroyed. Unit engaged.
Too easy. God damn it. Watch out, these small towers. They're firing high X shells. I'm now engaging hostile.
Under pressure.
Not bad.
Save the flattery.
Bam, 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 bam. I'm live. Yeah, structure under attack. I'm now engaging hostile. I've got a high bomber on radar. Withdrawal going down.
Unfortunately, we get a little unlucky, and one of the Sentinels actually dies before we can destroy the nest. We have a little bit of remaining energy, so we can build a flamer hornet to deal with it. One potential time save here, Sinclair's Pegasus could be destroyed or reabsorbed or recycled and rebuilt as something that can actually attack. I ended up with exactly 0 energy remaining in this run, so I couldn't even afford a hornet for him, so he has to just fly around for a while. There's the time save, people.
They're out there. Demolition underway.
This is Gordon. This one's tough. Enemy down. Attacking target. All teams.
Unit neutralized.
Gordon here. Commencing attack.
They know we're here.
Under pressure.
You all know, they're one of the finest soldiers I've served with. Okay, don't mention it. Keep it up, you make a special mention.
Target down. That was tough.
This is Beta Team. Shut down all energy production. I'm taking enemy fire. I'm engaged the building.
Fire mission at location. This is Antaeus. All magazines now empty.
Here they come. Hull integrity within safe limits. Engagement underway.
Our last Flamer Sentinel is down, and it's time to destroy the last nest. Unfortunately, we get unlucky again, and the Sentinel dies, but I quick command the Flamer Hornet that we built before to come in and help finish the nest off for us. Now, as I mentioned last time, for some reason, the northeastmost nest actually can survive the Antaeus gun round with about 10% health.
Shield holding.
Now, I've learned to check for it, and I check for it here, and it's still there, and I don't know how or why it can survive. Maybe there's some geometry in the ground that's clipping with it. I'm not exactly sure, but we managed to get it. We just have to destroy a few remaining buildings to finish off the mission,
The efficiency of the assembly in your weapon reload system. I'll keep you
and we are finished in 8 minutes and 47 seconds. Unfortunately, that only saves a tiny 9 seconds over the previous record. You better believe it, mission 15, it's the escort mission. 4 minutes of intense gameplay, followed by 20-ish minutes of following slow-moving vehicles and wasting time. The 4 minutes is pretty cool though, so let's see how we can improve from last time. Where we're going to look for improvements or hints is we're going to look at the .ars file, which is, if was explained in the previous video, is essentially the text-based trigger file. Now, the game objectives to trigger the start of the third phase, i.e. the 10-minute timer, require at least 4 of the small convoy vehicles and at least 1 of the big truck/convoy vehicles to reach the docks. Now, the big trucks are slow, so a potential time save is actually to deliberately kill one of the big trucks, preferably the one at the rear of the convoy, because that won't slow down the vehicles behind it. Also, if we can find a way to deal additional damage compared to the previous run, to the base we need to destroy to the very, very, very early of the mission, we actually could get both Sentinels to the dock much quicker, saving even more time. Let's see how we did. We start the same as last time, 4 Phoenixes, 2 with EMP, 2 with Scalpel, all with AI control, and we send them to the west. Again, we use the cutscene to build an AI Hornet for extra damage and command all of them to follow the first Phoenix, which we will fly ourselves.
Unit complete.
Croker on deck. Okay. Hybrid ground production located. Come to see an aviator in action, sir? This is Ransom. I'm picking up movement.
Again, once we see the howitzer, we change the rally, build an AI Pegasus, an AI Recycler Scarab, accepting the Magpie lift, and an empty Sentinel. We're going to use quick commands a little bit better this time to tell the Pegasus to drop the Sentinel at the dock. It's then time to push into the base again.
protect those buildings and that convoy. Don't let any harm come to them.
Attacking. Be careful of this bioactive.
Once again with the base, we're focusing on sniping production buildings as fast as possible using Antaeus' guns and EMPing AA guns.
Continued engagement. Reinforcements required. Unit engaged. Hull integrity within safe limits.
Fire mission accepted. Chambers loaded and firing.
Bye-bye, baby. Bye-bye.
Gordon here, taking heat.
Here they come. Hybrid recon Ground chopper detected. Bam, 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 bam.
Now, we did something a little different there you might have missed. We tell the AI Hornet to attack towards my location, and the AI Scarab to recycle towards my location.
Enemy down. I have been engaged by the enemy. I'm down.
Then it's time to build the second Sentinel. Magpie's going to do this one, but we build it much earlier than last time as we're ahead of time.
I am making structure hits.
There's hostile movement on radar. Hostile unit destroyed. Radar outpost detected.
I'm being attacked.
This is Ransom. Target structure under attack.
This is Borden. Commencing attack.
We have another chance. Unit destroyed. I'm now engaged. Hybrid mammoth on radar. There's hostile movement on radar. Not bad.
Thank you.
Let's get on with it.
The waves aren't slowing down. You need to destroy the base producing those units.
I'm now engaged. I think I've got something on radar. Bye-bye, baby. Bye.
We can see our Scarab's driven up, and it's taking an absolute beating from the howitzers, but we are able to recycle much quicker than last time.
Destroy all their buildings so they have no chance of getting them ever going again. Once you've done that, we can get those people out of there.
So much so, we can actually build a second Hornet to help destroy the main base.
I have some on radar.
Vehicle ready and on deck.
This is not a wise choice. Death from above. Son, I drive tanks. This is Ransom. I'm taking heavy damage. I've played with bigger pea shooters. Hybrid M1 detected. This is Sinclair. I've got
The first Sentinel is almost at the dock, so now it's time to use the EMP Phoenix again to disable the 2 AA guns and the Mammoth tank. Same as last time.
Radar outpost detected. Okay, commencing engagement.
We're on radar. I've engaged the building.
Will do. Enemy engaged.
Taking heavy damage, but she's holding.
This is Korolev. I'm under attack. Orders complete.
Scavenging done. Enemy engaged? Yeah, baby, yeah.
Building engaged.
Easy.
I've completed my orders, sir.
My load is now down. I've engaged the building.
Commencing attack.
Well done, Captain.
And we just triggered the end of Phase 1. We triggered it much earlier than last time, so we're going to use the same play from last time. I'm going to send everything to the recycler.
Engaged. Okay, sir.
Now, unfortunately, I made a pretty bad error. I actually told everything to go to the location of the Scarab, not to the location of the recycler, which meant the 2 helis at the dock actually flew into the alien base that's kind of revealed later in the map. So they both died, and I lost a bit of energy there. I'll be honest, I doubt there's any real time loss, because you have heaps of energy by this point. We then fly one of the Hornets to clear the road of debris again, and as I mentioned at the very start, we're going to destroy the rearmost truck in the convoy to stop it from slowing the whole convoy down.
Convoy moving and keep it safe.
Cruiser, please help me out here. This is Korolev. Hull strength falling. Engaged. Critical hit. Going down.
You're supposed to be protecting those vehicles. Don't let it...
I eventually realized why it's so noisy where the Scarab is, because there's like 6 helicopters above you, but eventually I realized what I've done and send them for recycling. And then it's back to energy duty. Note, we're going to shortly see the last F1/F2 pause screen for the next 20 or so minutes. Don't worry, I'll speed it up. We build a total of 6 AI shielded Phoenixes, 2 EMP, 4 Scalpel, which is the same as last time. And we do that over 2 build screen rounds. There are no more pause screens for the rest of the mission. This is to give as much time as possible to the convoy vehicles and countdown timers. Then everything is the same as last time. I'll speed it up greatly. But the summary, we follow the convoy, and the convoy eventually gets attacked by the alien buildings that spawn around. Then the rocks collapse. Then the vehicles have to travel by the nest. Then the convoy gets attacked by the flying enemies, which should have been a reveal in this, but like we already accidentally flew helicopters into that base, so the script doesn't trigger again. Eventually the convoy gets to the docks and it triggers the 10-minute timer. We have one heli fewer than we did last time because we didn't destroy the Scarab to save time, but still the force we have is more than enough to deal with the spawning base. And then we waste time. We'll go and get a drink. And finally, the 10-minute timer has expired, finishing in 27 minutes and 13 seconds. An amazing improvement of actually 43 seconds over the record set in the last video. Considering most of that time improvement is actually in the first 4 minutes, that's pretty cool. Now for the final improvement, and the biggest one yet. Mission 17, Island 0. Now if you've seen the previous video, it goes without saying that I was very confused. I was very confused about the way the triggers worked in this mission because it didn't quite make sense. Special shout out to the Hostile Waters Discord for their advice here. But in short, this mission is broken. Now, early releases of the game, earlier than the GOG version that I'm using, there was actually an error in the .ars file for this mission. There was confusion between timer numbers that was reshared, meaning if you destroyed the cruiser, it would actually trigger the win condition, meaning you could finish the mission in a handful of seconds by destroying the cruiser using a unit. But that's kind of silly. So how about the latest patch version? In this case is 1.03, which is the GOG version. Well, it turns out the ARS file is lying to us. We actually don't have to destroy anywhere near as many units and buildings as we thought. There seems to be an issue in the trigger file where the enemy teams aren't set correctly, or where the triggers aren't set for the right teams. In short, it's possible in Hostile Waters for there to be multiple enemy teams, and they're usually allied together. The reason for that is pretty much that if you attack one base, there won't be a whole bunch of units flying cross-map to attack you. Now, the summary to finish a mission based on a whole bunch of testing, we actually need to, 1, sample the mainframe, but nothing triggers off it. We can do it at any time. 2, destroy some, but not all of the Red Walker units in the northern area. 3, destroy 2 land factories in the north, and what the game refers to as all enemy units for the first AI. That actually just means all AA guns in the north, and all blast towers in the north, and 1 solo blast tower in the east. So to clarify, no air production have to be destroyed, no command centers, no nests, no energy pods. It's basically 2 land factories, a bunch of AA, a bunch of blast towers, and a couple of units. So just to make clear what's happening, the ARS file is saying the condition is for the first AI team to control 0 nests and control 0 command centers. But since the first AI team doesn't actually have any of them, they might be a different AI team, that condition is automatically satisfied. Anyway, let's see it. We're going to build an identical force to last video. 6 shielded AI Phoenixes, 2 of which have EMP, and fly north towards the base. Once we build everything, we're not going to go into any more pause screens for the rest of the level, so we save time. We fly to the north along the seawall. We could cut diagonally across the map, but we really don't want to trigger the air production if we can help it, so we fly just to the north. While we're flying, let's answer some of my previous questions on the level. The land factory in the middle of the map doesn't need to be killed, regardless if it grows or not. What about the 4th air factory spawn issue? Well, I think it does actually always spawn, at least based on my testing. The funny part is it and all other air factories don't have to be killed. So whether it spawns or not, it doesn't matter. Do the energy pods near the air factories need to be killed? I was right. No, they don't. Do the AA guns need to be killed? Turns out yes, but just in the northern area. There's about 8 to 10 of them. I can't really remember how many. Alright, we're at the base. We push into the base in a big way. We're a little bit cavalier here, as we all we need to do is kill the right enemy buildings or units, and we don't need our units to survive too long. We're using lots of quick commands to focus on the targets only, because there's lots of units and buildings we don't want to spend time killing if we can avoid it. We are blasting through this level so quickly, we don't even need to worry about the large attack on the carrier at the 5-minute mark. Eventually we fly a unit ourselves a little bit out of the way so we can get the single blast tower. I have a feeling it's a bug and this blast tower really should have been on a different team. we're finished in 3 minutes and 43 seconds. That's a 2 minute and 56 second time save over the previous video, and almost 9 minutes over Bad Jim's record. That's all the time improvements I have for now. But before I go, I want to show you something pretty cool. It's very common in hostile waters to have finished the level when the objective list says you shouldn't have been able to finish. For example, level 12, destroy the bridge, or level 3, destroy the oil derricks. However, to my knowledge, it's pretty rare to have hostile waters refuse to finish you when, at least based on the objectives, you have done everything. Here's a pretty crazy example, which did actually take quite a lot of attempts, but it was quite fun. Level 2. Level 2 requires us to sample the Hornet as a mission objective, then use the Hornet to destroy a radar and then destroy a couple of helicopters. Those helicopters don't actually get spawned until we build the Hornet, or 25 seconds have expired after we sampled the Hornet. But it turns out we can actually finish all the game objectives, at least in the objectives menu, without building a Hornet. So here's something a bit different. We follow the normal build, except we're going to drop the AI Scarab on the dock this time, and we're going to build an empty Pegasus and an empty Scarab. Empty Scarab is in no recycler. We're going to pick up and fly that empty Scarab towards the radar.
Unit complete. Warning. Disassembling vehicle.
I've been picked up.
Awaiting LZ location.
I have units on radar.
Oh, fantastic. Captain, it seems the area is covered by some sort of radar net.
And if you time it right, and this is a couple of hundred attempts, but if you time it right, and you drop the Scarab back first, you can actually destroy the radar with fall damage. And we go into crazy recycling mode to try and hit 5500 energy before the silent 25-second timer triggers the helis. And we actually achieve it. Look, all completed. However, the trigger requires a certain number of heli deaths, so they spawn anyway. It's a real shame, because it actually could have been a 4-second time save. And that's it. Looking forward to see if anyone can improve on these times. Have fun.
Engine complete.
Do not let anything happen to Antaeus, Captain.